Nothing definitive is known about the Zodiac's background since he was never caught. The first known confirmed Zodiac murders took place on December 20th, 1968 on Lake Herman Road in California. The victims were David Faraday, 17, and Betty Lou Jensen, 16, both of which were shot with a .22 handgun. No killer was ever caught. The Zodiac then remained inactive until July 4th the following year, when he shot another couple, Michael McGee, 19, and Darlene Ferrin, 22, while they were seated in a parked car in the parking lot of the Blue Rock Springs Park in Vallejo. McGee survived, though he suffered severe injuries, and was able to provide a description. On August 1st, the Vallejo Times-Chronicle, the San Francisco Examiner, and the San Francisco Chronicle received near-identical letters from the Zodiac in which he took credit for the murders, providing his guilt by stating several facts about the crime scenes, such as what the victims were wearing, how their bodies were positioned, and what brand of ammunition he used. The only signature was the Zodiac symbol. The letters only contained one part of a 3-part cipher designed by the Zodiac, who ordered all 3 papers to publish the ciphers on the front pages and threatened to go on a killing spree over the weekend if they didn't comply. All 3 papers published the cipher, which was cracked after a little more than a week by Donald and Betty Hardin. In the decoded message, the Zodiac claimed to have been killing in order to collect slaves for his afterlife. The next Zodiac letter came the day before the cipher was cracked. In it, the Zodiac named himself for the first time and gave more details about the murders. The next murder took place near Lake Berryessa on September 27th. This time, the victims, Brian Hartnell, 20, and Cecilia Shepard, 22, were tied up and stabbed instead of shot. Hartnell survived his injuries, but Shepard died a few days later. Fortunately, she saw the attacker without his mask on and was able to give a description before expiring. During his next killing, the Zodiac diverged from his pattern even further and shot and killed a cab driver, Paul Lee Stein, 29, and Presidio Heights in San Francisco on October 11th after riding with him. This time, a partial fingerprint and blood was found inside the car, along with a bloody pair of gloves. At first, the police were led to believe that the killer was black, which was later corrected. Before that, however, a pair of uninformed cops on their way to the crime scene spotted a man filling the Zodiac's description, dressed in a dark jacket, and walked away from the crime scene mere minutes after the shooting. 3 days later, the San Francisco Chronicle received a letter in which the Zodiac threatened to kill all the passengers of a school bus and included a piece of Paul Stein's bloody shirt. Though this was the last of the Zodiac's confirmed killings, he continued writing letters. Though he claimed responsibility for several murders during this time, it is generally believed that he lied for the attention. The prime suspect of the case was, and remains to this day, Arthur Leigh Allen. The authorities began investigating him after they were told by one of his old co-workers, Donald Cheney, that Allen had told him about an idea he had for a novel about a serial killer who called himself Zodiac, and did several things the Zodiac Killer did or threatened to do, such as taping a flashlight to his gun and killing the passengers of a school bus. Also, Allen was a skin diver who had been to Lake Berryessa on several occasions. He also admitted to having had bloody knives in his car on the weekend of the stabbing. He claimed that the blood had came from a chicken he had killed for dinner. After a warrant for his trailer and handwriting was secured and carried out, his fingerprints were compared to the partial from the cab, his guns compared to the Zodiac's evidence, and his handwriting to that of the letters. None of the tests came back a match, and Allen was let go. In 1991, McGee was tracked down and shown a lineup of old photos of Zodiac suspects. After he fingered Alan as the killer, there were talks about formally charging him with the murders based on the massive amount of circumstantial evidence against him. Unfortunately, Alan died of natural causes before any trial could take place. To date, August 2014, the case remains unsolved. The Zodiac is known to have sent many cryptographic and puzzling letters to not only the SFPD, but the press as well. In these letters, the Zodiac made his intentions and wishes known. In some, it would include old drawings, mosaics of photos, and astrological charts. One letter included a cipher of which the police could use to discover his identity. They were unsuccessful in accurately translating it. Below are some of the letters the Zodiac sent to the SFPD and the local newspapers. To date, almost none of his ciphers have been definitely solved.